welcome for all of you who are watching. You're tuned into TMH, and this is our daily English news. Our headlines for today: Eritrean forces kill 81 and have kidnapped 48 people from Gula district in Tigray's eastern zone. Commander-in-Chief of Tigray Defense Forces says any attempt to undermine the interest of the people of Tigray will obstruct the peace process, and U.S. must change the perception that genocide works, says the Washington Examiner. As we move on to our main updates for today, the Eritrean forces have killed 81 and kidnapped 48 people from Gula district in eastern zone of Tigray. Some of the 90,000 IDPs from the district are now living under extreme situations without any shelter or food in Tigray town, and they have expressed their plight. Let's take a listen.
We found ourselves in a very bad circumstance. All of our property and resources have been looted. They are slaughtering our livestock and now are carrying off our crops with donkeys and camels and turning it into an animal fodder. We are leading a very harsh life on the streets.
Gula District Representative Barhet Agai said the Eritrean forces have so far executed 81 civilians, including people as young as 15 and as old as 94. Let's take a listen.
The Eritrean forces have looted all property, have now started kidnapping them to conscript them by force. They have taken all property that we left behind. They have also killed civilians, including a 5-month-old child. They're letting their donkey graze on the crops, so we need help. Eritrean forces should immediately pull out of Tigray and they should return the property they have looted. They have to return the youth they kidnapped. Otherwise, this would leave a deep scar. For peace to hold, the international community should take action and protect civilians.
Barhet Agai added that the Eritrean forces have kidnapped and forcefully disappeared 48 civilians and that 32 have been seriously injured.
The Eritrean forces are looting everything in all places they set foot. They are carrying off property using vehicles, donkeys, and camels. They have looted crops and destroyed the rest. They have slaughtered over 1,700 livestock.
Commander-in-Chief of the Tigrayan forces says any attempt to undermine the interest of the people of Tigray will obstruct the peace process. General Tadessa Warere told the media today that the only way to ensure sustainable peace is in fact to address the demand of the people of Tigray. He says laying down arms on its own people will not guarantee a sustainable peace. The commander-in-chief said, adding that the people of Tigray first took up arms because there was an attempt to suppress their demand by force. He also asked, when he was asked about the implementation and the plan he signed in Nairobi, the commander-in-chief said the senior commanders of both armies have discussed in good faith and had a good understanding of the heavy costs that were being paid and the uselessness of this ongoing war. General Tadessa noted that the Eritrean forces are killing innocent civilians, destroying public infrastructure, and looting heritages from Tigray region, also mentioning that both Eritrean and Amhara forces are possible spoilers of this ongoing peace deal. They've entered Tigray along with the federal government, he says. Now it behooves the Ethiopian government to ensure their withdrawal. The commander didn't hide that the building trust from both sides will not be easy moving forward. Washington Examiner says the U.S. must in fact change the perception of genocide. Washington Examiner cited the atrocities being committed against the Uyghurs, Tigray, and the Armenians as well as the Kurds as evidence of the appeasement of policy on the state committing genocide. The Uyghurs and the Washington Examiner wrote that 2 years ago, the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and his mentor, Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki, launched a genocide against Ethiopia's Tigray population marked by starvation and the summary execution. It noted that two governments targeted men, women, and children equally and cut off the region from the international assistance, independent media, as well as communication. According to the Washington Examiner, Biden's recognition of the travesty did not translate into the substantive deterrence as Abiy simply dismissed the series of envoys sent by Biden himself. While the State Department welcomed the current ceasefire, Abiy Ahmed and Afwerki appear to have inclined to continue their slow slaughter that the arrival of small number of aid trucks notwithstanding, as it stated, arguing that in effect, Tigray experiences today what Rwanda's Tutsis would have been and had the Hutu genociders won. Biden sees himself as a foreign policy whiz, and the Washington Examiner said that indicating if his administration continues to appease, he might be remembered like Henry Kissinger, but for all the wrong reasons. The Washington Examiner said Biden's foreign policy team now presides over the broader and more corrosive problem of growing sense amongst the world's rogues and the genocide works. It added much can be done to prevent genocide if only there's a will, adding, however, dictators across the globe have discovered that when it comes to mass slaughter, the White House is a paper tiger. U.S. sanctions and other restrictions on Ethiopia and Eritrea are likely to persist despite a recent peace deal. An article published on the National Law Review titled Navigating the U.S. Sanctions and Restrictions on Ethiopia and Eritrea indicated that until a peace deal proves durable, current restrictions by the United States and by other countries will in fact continue to create uncertainty for the investors and the persons seeking to do businesses in or within Ethiopia and Eritrea as the Greater Horn of Africa region. The agreement between the Ethiopian government and the Tigray leadership purports to end hostilities in an armed conflict that has killed hundreds of thousands, displaced millions, and contributed to a severe hunger crisis. If implemented, the article indicated in this agreement could resolve the human rights and humanitarian concerns that have been the basis for several measures as the United States has taken against the Ethiopian and Eritrean sanctions, including trade restrictions and visa restrictions as well. On that note, that concludes our news for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.